Hot take: most automation doesn't fail because it's difficult to specify. It fails because the maintenance cost is brutal. You write a script in R or Python, it works once, and then you spend the next months chasing little breakages and edge cases. In this video, I'll show you a workflow that flips that using ChatGPT Thinking Mode to code in English. You describe the behavior, constraints, and corner cases, and the agent turns that into real working code in whatever language you need. In this video, we will build a logbook record-keeping assistant, and you will see why this is easily 10x faster to build and maintain, which suddenly makes a lot more tasks worth automating. For our logbook automation, I wanted a simple workflow. I wanted to watch a folder and copy only the files created or modified on a given date into a new folder. I attempted to do this with Linux find command, and then tried to push that into Excel and immediately hit parsing problems. So at that point I turned to ChatGPT. So I gave ChatGPT this extended version of the prompt. ChatGPT first response was to move away from Excel and this find function altogether. Importantly, I requested the use of the think mode that you can access here. You just need to go here and then click on the thinking. So then ChatGPT summarizes better than what I did, what I wanted from this script to do. So it goes through the folder recursively, it filters files modified on that given date, then creates a manifest, sort of records all of what is copying, and also maintains the folder structure of those files. And finally gives me this script to download, and also it gives me how to run these scripts with the different parameters, in other words, where to look at, where the files will be copied and the date that I want, whether I include the manifest, if I will be copying the files, and if I will be preserving the directory structure. So if we go and look at the script that we downloaded, it's very well commented and is certainly more robust than the code I write, so that looks pretty solid. And now if we go to the terminal, this is how we launch the script. So here we go, and it breaks. So the problem, however, is that once I started running the script, it broke, and it broke about 5 times, but with some very minor mistakes, to be honest. So first, for example, I got this error here. The good thing is that I was always able to debug, quote unquote, the script by just telling ChatGPT what the error message was. Here it understands that it put inadvertently a comma there, so it tells me just remove it, how to do it, how the code looks after removing it. So that's very explicit. In other words, each time ChatGPT provided the right answer on the first goes, and once we fixed those, we got our first working script. So this is our working script. This is where we are going to copy the files that were modified on this 1st of January from this folder experiment. So we go ahead and run that, and it says found 6 files modified the 1st of January, wrote the manifest and copy into this folder 2026-0101 within the logbook 0.1. So if we look at the folders where we are doing the staging, so we asked the script to put the files modified in that day in this folder. This is the folder that created for that day, and here it copied all the files, preserving the directory structure. And for example, that corresponds to these breathings and liter files. And if we look into the experiment folder where this is coming from, we can see that the directory structure is preserved. So we have the breathings data, and we have these 2 files. If we check the date they were modified, is as expected 1st of January. So everything is working as expected, and that was with a simple prompt. The script also creates these files over here that we call the manifest, and if we have a look at that file, it gives you the files that is copying with all the directory structure, and it also adds the size and exactly when they were modified, which day and time. So once I created a working script, I continue the development, always in English. So I decided to ask ChatGPT for some more features. First, I asked to include that manifest file within the folder for that day. Then I asked to include an ID number for the files within that manifest. And finally, I requested to make for a range of dates that I can specify to copy multiple days. So this is essentially what I wrote. Then ChatGPT summarizes what I requested nicely for you, gives me also the updated script. So this is how we run now the script. The main changes here that we can say from this day, like the 29th of December to 1st of January, the other parameters remain the same. We are going to do this in Labbook 0.2 as the folder where we want the files to be copied to. So if we go ahead and run that, so you see that looks at different dates. Some days nothing was done, so no files were modified on this date. Here there was one modified, here 6, and so on and so forth. So now if we look into the Labbook 0.2, we see that we have these 2 dates, and we also have the manifest inside this time of the folder for that date. And if we open the manifest, we have like the files copy, their directory, and here their ID and their hash number and the byte size and when they were modified. From there, I continue the development. I want to show you one more example to give you a sense of how you can keep on adding features to this. So the next thing I wanted to do was to limit the total number and the size of the files that can be copied, and to create a priority list indicating which files should be prioritized. We propose a default of 500 megabytes for each individual file and 1 giga total per day. So again, this is the long prompt that I wrote. ChatGPT thought for 24 seconds and then again gave a nice summary of what I requested, as you can see here, and again gave me the Lab Archive daily staging script updated with all these new features. If we have a look at the script now, it's quite complex, has the argument parsing things, which becomes more involved, some helper functions, some inode helper functions as well, help with the hashing, the root label disambiguation. So you can see that this is quite complicated and would take ages, not ages, but quite a lot of time to do. And we are doing it just specifying this in English, and we are having the results that we are expecting. This is just for you to have an idea of how crazy this is. So now if we go ahead and run this script, we have that files were not modified these days, and there was 1 file modified these days, 6 here and 4 over here, and these were all copying this Labbook 0.3. So again, here we have like the directory structure with the file, we have the manifest, and also now we have this summary file. And for example, if we open this summary file here for the 4th of January, we have this little summary that says, okay, there was 1 Microsoft file, there was 1 coding file and 2 other files. 3 of those 4 files were copied for a total of 0.1. There was 1 file that was essentially no copy, that was one of these because it was bigger than these 500 megabytes that we specified. Okay, that's all for today. We just created a small, reliable Labbook pipeline with daily staging folder, manifest, file IDs, and size budgeting without writing a single line of code. If you have coded something in natural language and you would like to share it, please do so in the comments. If you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to make the material accessible to other people like you, including yourself in the future. And if you want to use AI inside RStudio, check the video now on screen, and I will see you there.